And we are on. It's NFL trade deadline day. This is Sports Unhinged. My name is Mohamed Khamis, and welcome to the show, Ujitha.
Thanks for having me again, man.
We're doing this a couple of hours from the trade deadline.
It's all happening right now.
It's happening right now.
Right now.
So we will be reacting to the trades as they come in.
Do we have a choice? We really don't have a choice. Yeah.
Ian Rappaport just brought in that Golden Tate has moved to your Philadelphia
Whoa,
Eagles.
there you go. I think this podcast is done, maybe.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's good.
Super Bowl again.
We didn't get Demarius Thomas, but that Golden Tate is a good deal there.
Demarius Thomas moving to the Texans.
Third-round pick, was it?
Third-round pick.
Yeah, that's one of our
for
own
Golden
picks
Tate.
there.
Yeah.
There we go, baby. Carson's got another weapon. We're all good to go.
I didn't even get through my usual introduction for the show, so
there's the
let's get
introduction, man.
right into it.
I mean, listen, I'm on about 2 hours of sleep and about 36 capsules of Nespresso that stayed up all night looking for trades, you know?
And nothing happened last night.
Nothing happening. I think at one point my wife walked in, she saw me on the phone, and I think it would have made more sense to her that I was talking to some girl at that time of the night than looking for trades.
You're looking for trades in the NFL.
Yeah, doesn't make no financial benefit for the household, you know. Could have explained that to her.
Yeah, no, it's. I think right now there's 2 hours left for the trade deadline. So
it's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen, and I think by the time we're done, that's probably about an hour left in the deadline, so things are going to get moving.
I've got Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter's Twitter pages open, and we'll react as the tweets come in.
The only thing we need to have open right now.
Let's start, though, with a little bit of a kind of, rewind.
Where do we start?
Yesterday.
With the Cleveland show.
It's the Cleveland show. Yeah, I know you're more of a family guy.
I'm a family guy. But we can't let Cleveland go.
They let go of Hugh Jackson. They let go of their offensive coordinator, Todd Haley.
Yeah, well, which was, I think, more of a surprise than Hugh. I mean, we would have seen Hugh Jackson's firing coming some time ago, but to get rid of both of them.
What do you think, though? Do you think it was the right decision to let him go? Let's start with Hugh Jackson first.
Well, let's take both of them, because I think what happened was, and I think I mentioned this, I was joking about this on one of our Smack groups, is that I think Haslam and Dorsey, well, we know Hugh Jackson was Haslam's guy, and that's why he's with 36 losses, and he's still there.
Check this out. It's 3-36-1. So there's been 219 coaches in NFL history. One of our friends, Andy, brought this statistic out. This guy ranks 218th in NFL history.
Someone worse than him.
Someone worse than him was called Burt Bell, who owned your
Eagles. The Eagles. And look, the reason why he stayed that long, because he also owned the club.
That's in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, exactly.
For those who don't know.
Yeah, from the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets when he started up the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
But well, getting back to the whole thing, I think, like I said in the group as well, I think Haslam and Dorsey, they probably had some kind of discussion.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, you know what? To hell with the both of you.
I think if you go back to the Hard Knocks episode.
Yeah, it was all out there. It was all out in public.
We got a bit of a whiff of that power struggle that's being there.
Right.
There's something to do with training, and they had an opposing opinion, and Hugh Jackson had to come in and say, I'm the head coach, my way goes. And we've noticed that in the last couple of weeks. He's publicly had to come out and say that I'm the head coach.
I'm the one. Yeah, so he's trying to protect himself.
Some insecurity.
Insecurity, absolutely. You know, but again, you know, if in a normal job, if you suck week on week that badly, and you're still there in the organization, and then you bring a guy in to possibly help you out on the offense,
right?
Yeah, you take that help. You don't go, no, this is.
I have a different take on this. I have a bit of a different take. I don't think it was the right time to let go of Hugh Jackson, because the one thing that you want to
the right time passed. The right time is a dot.
No. And I said this at the beginning of the season. I was like, if you wanted to get rid of him, you get rid of him at the end of last season, right?
That's what I'm saying. That time passed.
That passed. Some people were calling for his head after the second week where he did... Oh, no, it was actually preseason where Tyrod Taylor got injured.
Wait.
And against your Eagles, I guess in the preseason game.
Yeah.
And he brought him in and brought him out and brought him back in a meaningless game. And they were calling for his head. I was like, that's the wrong time as well. It's the wrong time now as well. Because at the end of the day, you want to protect your first round, your first pick of the draft in Baker Mayfield. And this just causes more chaos. I mean, just think about it from his perspective as a rookie in the NFL, with all of the pressure of being the first pick in the draft, and there are two offensive minds in that organization, Hugh Jackson, Todd Haley. Right. Now they're both gone. Right. You've got Greg Williams, who's the defensive coordinator, has been...
And he's probably going to be there for probably the end of the season.
And again, for people who don't know, Greg Williams was one of the key people in Bountygate back in,
That's
in
right,
the Saints.
in New Orleans, yeah.
And he got suspended. Right. So I think right now...
Look, I think...
It's going to turn into an episode of, Doug the Bounty Hunter for the rest of the...
Sounds like a cartoon I used to watch back in the day. But look, I think that there was a rift, right? Yeah. Obviously. And with that rift, the players would have gone to certain camps as well. So there would have been some going into Hugh Jackson, some going into Todd Haley. And like I said, the Haslam wanted Hugh Jackson in there. And they probably made a deal. Listen, I'll get rid of Hugh. And let's get rid of Todd as well. Yeah. Let's just do this.
Both. It's like do this. When your kids fight and you're like, all right, both. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Yeah. Both of you are
You're
out.
Done. Yeah. PlayStation is shut down for the whole week. That's it. I don't care who did it.
My issue though is, I don't know what expectation the ownership had from this team, because from the outside looking in, and whenever we're at Wings and Rings and watching the NFL games every week, we always have
That's
one.
That's the first shout out.
That's the first shout out for you guys.
That costs about 100. I'm just saying.
We always have one eye on that screen that's showing
always
the Browns.
Yeah, always the Browns. We always get excited and then they mess up right in the end.
No, but to me, it looks, number one, they had a very tough schedule. They're playing against very tough teams throughout the whole.
Pittsburgh to start with.
They had Pittsburgh and it was a draw. It was a tie. Then they were at New Orleans, 21-18. Right. Then they beat the Jets at home in week 3. Then it was a very close game against Oakland, at Oakland, 42-45. Right. That was like a shootout as well. They beat Baltimore, which was a big win. They lost to the Chargers. And then, again, a loss by 3 points to Tampa Bay. And then Pittsburgh. Throughout the whole time, it looked like they were playing for the coach. It looked like they were almost starting to figure out how to win, because this is a team that hasn't won in the last God knows how long.
And they regressed over the last couple of weeks, and that's probably because the rift got bigger between those two.
I don't think they've regressed that much. Against Pittsburgh, they were in there until Pittsburgh pulled away. But before that, it was pretty close.
Right.
And one statistic that I found is that the Browns have the best turnover differential in the whole league at +11. So only winning 2 games despite the turnover. Right. Maybe best is not the best.
Well, that's probably what they went into overtime. How many games? 4 games? 5 games?
4 or 5 games. And the kickers, had they had a better kicker, they would have won three games more at least.
We need to dedicate a whole podcast on the kickers for the season.
Just the kickers,
just
right?
Just the kickers. And speaking of which, Adam Vinatieri just became the #1 point scorer in the NFL.
In the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So Dorsey has to take some of the blame for this, because it's his job to find an adequate kicker for the team. True. And he hasn't. So,
but here's the thing. So Dorsey came in December or January.
It's his first year. I don't say
first year, but he ran into trouble straight away, right? With this riff, and Todd came in January, I guess, and he brought in Todd.
He inherited
the
coaching staff
a bad system.
Yeah,
that's what he inherited. Bad ownership, bad organization. Browns being the Browns. We keep saying this over and over again. So he inherited that stuff, and I think this is what they needed.
Right.
I agree with firing the both of them. If such a big rift did exist, they got to concentrate on developing the quarterback, Baker Mayfield. He's good.
Then they should have picked one or the other. I think they should have picked who did Baker get along with better? Who did Baker believe in the most?
What about the side that's on Hugh Jackson's camp? How they're going to feel? So I think this was a compromise between the owners and Dorsey and the players. And then let's concentrate. Because whatever coach comes in right now, if Williams is in there, he's in there. But whatever coach comes in now, he doesn't got to worry about Super Bowl. He hasn't got to worry about playoffs.
There's no expectation.
All he's got to do is develop Baker Mayfield. And there's a lot to work with. And they've got a pretty okay offense as well.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad offense.
No, they have all the pieces. And that's why I think the firing, despite the record, yes, I think for somebody said that Bill Belichick, for him to catch up to Hugh Jackson's record, he'd have to lose 867 games consecutively.
Yeah, Bill could be around for that long. You know what I mean?
No, so I'm just saying, despite all of that, I think that this team didn't have a winning culture, didn't know how to win. They were getting blown out in every game.
Let's not forget, Bill started. That's where Bill was.
Yeah,
back in the 90s. Yeah. And could they be cursed? You know,
I don't believe in curses.
This whole Art Modell trying to move it to Baltimore, or you know, back in '95, was it? Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe a black cat went under a ladder and crashed into a mirror,
or something like that.
Something like that. And it's been like 20 years of bad luck, and that's what it's been.
No, but we've seen other organizations that have had very long stints of doing bad, and then I mean, look in the NBA. Look at the Golden State Warriors. You know, they went through a terrible time. I don't believe in curses. I think it's just about the culture of the team.
I actually do believe in a bit of the curse. I mean, I followed baseball. You know, the Cubs, the Sox. You know, you got to believe
maybe
superstition,
with the Cubs.
Right?
Maybe with the Cubs.
You know, it's like if you're watching a game, and you know, back in the day when I used to watch with my dad, you know, he wouldn't, and he was he was into sports as much as I am, obviously, and he wouldn't let us move from a couch if we were watching a game. You know, it was that kind of thing.
Or when you're watching a football game and somebody leaves and somebody scores a goal.
Exactly. You don't leave. Yeah. If you got to go to the toilet, you hold it, bro.
Yeah.
That's how it was. So, you know.
I don't know. I think that this team was starting to figure out how to win. They were playing a lot better than they did in previous years. They had a lot more talent. Yeah. I think they should have, for the sake of Baker Mayfield, I'm okay with firing Hugh Jackson. I said that I would have had a problem with Hugh Jackson getting fired and Todd Haley getting it, because Todd Haley would have gotten all of the credit for what Hugh Jackson has done over the last couple of years in terms of getting the talent and training.
All right. Now, get there, Mohamed.
So I think, it's a tough argument to make. I know. But I really feel that they were heading in a positive direction. They were losing close games. It came to field goals. Right. And I know it's a business.
So I'll just go back to what you said about 5 seconds ago. The team was getting better. But they just need someone now to show them how to win. This is where
what's starting to figure out how to win. I say you stick it out till the end of the season and then fire him on Black Monday. The day the regular season is over, fire him, bring somebody in. I think it's better for Baker Mayfield, that stability for 1 year. They could ruin the rest of his career.
I'm saying the structure, how it looks like now. You couldn't have fired one without the other, because Haslam with Hugh and Dorsey with Todd Haley. Right? You could not have done it. And that was a trade-off, I think, between those two. Say, listen, let's get rid of both of them.
And start fresh.
Let's work on developing Baker Mayfield. The question now is, who is that coach? And I know we saw some crazy list that said
some Twitter account called Odds Shark, where some people are a bit high or something, and they put the odds favorite.
Is it from Canada?
I don't know, but the odds-on favorite to become the next head coach at the top of the list is Sean McVay.
But here's the thing. Well, it does sound nonsense, but that is the kind of caliber head coach they need right now. Young, aggressive, offensive-minded coach. That is the kind of guy they need. But it's not going to be Sean McVay. We all know it's going to be Sean McVay. Probably be Bill Belichick before it becomes Sean McVay.
No, because I think it's a good point, though, because what Sean McVay has done right now,
it's amazing,
is he's changed the perspective of coaching in the NFL.
Right.
Usually when you're looking for a coach, you're looking for an old guy with gray hair, with a lot of experience, old-fashioned, that comes in with like a military-style kind of attitude, you know, and gets your team to start winning. Sean McVay has achieved what I think people like Pete Carroll, people like Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, have been trying to do by being, you know, a player's coach, you know, like the cool dude. But here we have Sean McVay, a guy that's actually young, sometimes as young as some of the players that are on the team.
And he can relate to the players, and that's a big deal.
Relate to them, and he's got a great football mind. So now I think the Browns would be looking for somebody young, somebody fresh, someone different to change things in Cleveland. So,
but I did tell you earlier that if Green Bay doesn't make it, what are the odds on Mike McCarthy going there?
Wow. That would be...
If they don't make it,
He's had,
look,
he's had his rifts with Aaron Rodgers over the years.
And, you talked about earlier that you wanted to talk about the Ty Montgomery.
Yeah.
Issue,
Because
right?
see, that was a very, very telling kind of incident.
That's what I'm saying. So that looked like he broke protocol there, didn't go with the play.
But then, when Mike McCarthy was at the press conference, when he was talking about it...
But that's because Mike McCarthy is a good coach.
He took the high road. So there's one of two possibilities there. No, there's one of two possibilities there. Either he didn't definitively tell Ty Montgomery, don't take it out of the end zone, put it in the hands of Aaron Rodgers. He said that was the game plan. But he didn't say
the game plan.
He didn't say that he gave the guy strict instructions. Maybe he told him make the best decision.
I don't know how strict you can get on the fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go. You're playing the Rams.
Yeah.
You've got Aaron Rodgers. What was the score? Was like 2 down or something.
Right.
You got Aaron Rodgers on clutch. He can get down the field.
All you need to do is go to field goal range.
That's right.
That's it.
And I know Ty did argue that he was on the half-yard line or 1 yard, and he wasn't. If you look back at the play, he was about half a yard behind the goal line.
Yeah. No, but see, that's the thing. So that's one possibility. Either that Mike McCarthy didn't actually give him strict instructions, or
I can't imagine that.
Or he's trying to protect him, and he just said that we had a play
we're not talking about the Cleveland Browns here.
He didn't throw him under the bus. He didn't throw him under the bus.
He won't do it because that's why he's the good coach, and he's been there for what we looked at it 12 years, is it?
Yeah. But I mean,
that's why that's why coaches last, because you don't throw anybody under the bus. If you've got to take the responsibility, you do it.
Yeah. But someone can argue that this is actually he's a good coach. But this could be an example of bad coaching, where you're not looking at the small details in the game, where you're just kind of drilling it in before the play. Pittsburgh, I think, had one incident as well where they got a safety and got a kick, and they treated it like a punt where nobody touched it.
Oh, that's right.
And then the Browns jumped on it, and they could have scored the touchdown, but they didn't know the rules either. And imagine Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Before the play, all the coaches will be screaming to the player. That's what your job is, to tell the players what the rules are sometimes, especially in these kind of situations. Another possibility is that Ty Montgomery, in this particular situation, let's think about this guy. He's going to be a free agent.
Right.
No, he's actually looking for his contract. He's out of his rookie contract in 2019. So this is his money year.
Yep.
He came out of college as a wide receiver, switched to running back because of the injuries that the Green Bay Packers had. And maybe he just thought, hey, forget the team. I'm going to do me, and I'm just going to try and...
well, that's not going to help him in the long run, And he was taken out, I think, in the previous play, and some people, he was...
angry at the sidelines and all of that.
Yeah. So it's not great on the character on him,
It's not good for... another example of Green Bay, they can even rely on Aaron Rodgers to get them to the win. They've been relying on his talent. They haven't given him the pieces that he needs. We've talked about this podcast after podcast with the Khalil Mack thing. And now this as well. Either a player going rogue or coach is not getting it right. Something's wrong in Green Bay. So, maybe if they don't make it to the playoffs, which I predicted.
Mike McCarthy to Cleveland, baby.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
That could be the start of an era. You never know. With Baker Mayfield. Huh?
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, let's move over to John Gruden.
Oh God! I thought we covered pretty much everything we had to on Gruden last week.
We cover Gruden, and then the minute we stop recording, Gruden goes around and does more things. Traded Amari Cooper, his number one wide receiver, to the Dallas Cowboys,
and got another first-round pick.
5 first-round picks for the next 2 years now.
Right. So I mean, that's his play, isn't it? I'm rebuilding, baby. I'm gonna get rid of.
Is he making a fool out of all of us? Is he actually a genius in disguise?
I mean, you see when Coach was here last time.
Yeah.
And it's something he said. He said, McKenzie got all these young guys around Derek Carr, and Gruden's coming in and basically tossing the deck chairs. And I think he's going to keep doing this until he gets.
But see, if he does this, he better get every single one of those draft picks.
Well, we're gonna see
right.
how good of a scout or a draft pick guy he is now.
No, because
right?
the way things are going, these Oakland Raiders might as well be named the Oakland Possums because
the Vegas Possums
or the Vegas Possum.
Vegas Possum.
Because
yeah.
they play dead at home and get killed on the road every single time.
Bet on the Possums.
But he better get every single one right because against the Colts, which is again one of those teams, just like the Green Bay Packers, where they have the best quarterback in the division,
right.
but they're not top of their division. And Andrew Luck looked really good. He's just flying under the radar right now.
Exactly.
And they destroyed
just like Matt
Raiders.
Ryan, you know? Falcons are nowhere, but Matt Ryan is having a fantastic season again.
No, but Andrew Luck is second in the NFL in touchdown passes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Incredible to even think about that.
So back to the Raiders. What did you think of that? Did Dallas pay too much for Amari Cooper?
I think it was a good trade for both teams.
You think so?
Yeah, I think, look, we dissed Gruden on the whole Khalil Mack thing.
Yeah.
But hey, guess what? Khalil Mack's not playing at
He's
the
injured
moment.
right now, yeah.
He's injured. And even before that, the Patriots game, we didn't hear his name much.
Right.
Miami shut him down.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't hear much of him in that game either. And then those are two games the Bears are going to regret not having won.
Yeah.
Going forward. So did Gruden have some kind of...
I don't know.
You know,
no, because if you look at this trade,
if
you look at this trade in isolation, it looks like Dallas way overpaid for Amari Cooper, but that's not the full story. Your Philadelphia Eagles were after him.
That's true.
Your Washington Redskins were after him.
Not my Washington Redskins. Somebody's Washington Redskins.
Oh yeah, well Mike's Washington Redskins.
It's all right.
Supporting two teams in the same division. That was a brain fart.
All right.
But the Washington Redskins were after him, and you guys didn't want this guy going to your division rivals,
absolutely.
And you paid. And
but it's not like Amari Cooper has done a great job this season. And I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have in the Dallas Cowboys at the moment.
I think he will. See, I made a way out of my...
Who does Dallas play next?
Yeah.
We got this nice chart over here. Where are they at? Do you remember your alphabets?
Yeah.
Dallas. We got Tennessee coming up, and then they go to Philly.
And then to Philly, and then to Atlanta.
Philly, Atlanta, Washington, New Orleans, Philly again. So that's a slightly tough schedule over there, and a couple of good defensive units as well. So,
but see, every team that has been successful, especially those teams that have gotten the tripod, quarterback, a wide receiver, and the running back. I think Dak Prescott...
You think Amari Cooper will finish that trifecta that's going to win Dallas?
I think that will open up the running game.
I don't know if Amari Cooper is that guy. And then don't forget that Dallas still has issues on the O-line.
They still have issues on the O-line. But then one of these issues is because they're heavily relying on Ezekiel Elliott. And everybody knows they're going to run the ball because they've got nobody out there.
They figured out how to stop him there.
They don't have a number one wide receiver. So there's nothing to open up the run game because there's no passing game whatsoever. I think this will start something. And Dak Prescott, I'm sticking with him. People bailed out on Deshaun Watson at the beginning of the season.
I'm
okay
with Dak Prescott,
I think he is that guy. He is better than...
Well, Dallas got to trust in him right now. I mean, they've got a good pick in him. They've got to trust him, but they've just got to build the threats around him.
Right.
You know, give him the weapons. Amari Cooper, maybe... I really don't know, honestly. You know, let's see what happens. Yeah.
I think it was a great trade because if you look at also...
I'm saying it was a great trade for both.
At the draft class this year does not have a lot of great wide receivers in it. Doesn't even have a lot of quarterbacks in it, but what is Gruden trying to build? Where is his rebuilding going to start? Is it on defense? Is it going to be building, up around Derek Carr? Right now, it looks like
is he going to keep Derek Carr?
Well, he said he's not trading Derek Carr.
It's not the same as I'm going to keep him forever.
I know. So
the thing is, you don't know with Gruden.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's at that point where if you offer me something pretty good, I might be willing to trade anybody on this team.
But this is my problem with this whole Gruden thing. We've never seen a team bring in a coach and pay them 10 million a year for a rebuild. When you pay that much for a coach, it's usually for immediate winning. You don't pay, so you could get a coach for 3, 4, 5 million for a rebuild, fire them, and then get your go-to guy. This is a 10-year.
Right.
I mean, we've gone over this over and over again.
But do you think also Davis is thinking along the lines of, we may not have a really good team, but let's do Showtime. And we're going to move to Vegas. We're going to maybe rename them. And who's the best Showtime coach we can get right now?
No, but they did have a good team. And the first time the Oakland Raiders had the same coach in back-to-back years, which is
Jack Del Rio.
They went 2-4 that year. And they looked really good.
They looked dangerous. Yeah, when Derek Carr first came on.
Because they had continuity. But then again, it's impatience. It's
you look. This separates the Patriots with the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
The Packers with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Things like this. Yeah. And look, there's obviously this obvious correlation between what relationship the head coach has with the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an obvious thing, but let's look at it really, right? And let's leave the obvious example aside.
Right.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Pat Schumer.
Yeah.
All right. He's the guy who gave us the man that Case Keenum is now.
Right.
But where is he right now? He's at the Giants, where nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
It's a sinking ship over there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, Jeff Fisher. How many years did we talk about when is Jeff Fisher going to get fired?
Oh, man.
Right?
And now we have the guy in Cincinnati, same thing as well, right? You know.
Right. No, my point was that you had Jared Goff, and
yeah,
under Fisher, Jared Goff was,
terrible.
And now he's at an MVP level.
Yeah.
Mahomes and Reed, first year.
Same thing.
What are they doing? They're going crazy out there in Kansas.
Right.
So I think this rapport, it makes a very big deal.
Well, Raiders.
And it's an obvious thing, obviously, but.
Yeah, but
obviously an obvious thing. It's getting obvious here.
No, but the thing is, the Raiders can't do anything about this. They have to keep him. We have to see how it goes.
But I think
for at least 5 years.
Like we said 5 years.
5 years.
And if it is that bad after in the 5th year, I think the Raider Nation's going to call for him to quit.
Right.
And
it will cost the ownership maybe
whatever it's going to cost
50
him,
million or whatever.
Yeah, and Gruden's not going to lose out. All right, he'll say, "Listen, I tried. Yeah, I didn't get what I wanted. Yeah, I did get 5 first-round picks in my first year.
Yeah,
that was a big deal. Goes in my resume.
And he's good on the mic. Like he's good with these self-deprecating jokes all the time. So you're like mad at him, like as a, and he's like,
laugh at him.
Yeah, and you want to laugh at him.
And this guy's cool. He's fun. Yeah.
But this is where, if I was in John Gruden's team right now and I was a veteran player, that's where I would have a problem, because veterans don't have a lot of time left to win a Super Bowl. No veteran wants to be in a rebuild team. They want to be in a
veterans go to Patriots.
Yeah,
that's the kind of players
to win, right?
Well, other than that, look, how long has Belichick and Brady got left together?
Not long.
Not long.
Yeah.
Do they care about draft picks?
They don't.
They don't.
They just want to get as many titles as possible.
Right now,
that's the place to be.
Yeah, so that's why I'm looking at Demarius Thomas.
Yeah.
Things like that,
Yeah.
So that's what
went to the Texans now.
Texans for Will Fuller's injury.
Right?
Look, I mean, that means the Texans are all out this season. They're going all guns blazing to get this season.
They had a bad start. They figured things out, and I was like saying, like people.
Yeah, bring it on about the bring it on.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Deshaun Jackson was a trade possibility at the Eagles.
He was asking to leave.
But here's the thing: he asked to leave because he didn't think Winston was giving him enough of the ball.
Shall we get into that now? Let's do it.
I think we just jumped over a lot of things right now.
Let's talk about Fitzmagic going back. So
Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
Look, if you go back to our first podcast with Mark over here, and it was a ridiculous thing. Like, why would you think of bringing Winston? Obviously, because you paid him a lot. You picked up his option for $21 million.
But
fine.
The thing is now with Winston, now that he's been benched,
right?
I don't think I think we've just seen the last game of Winston as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Because if they bring him back and play him at any point during the season, it will be the stupidest mistake. The 21 million option, fifth-year option for Jameis Winston is only guaranteed against injury.
Right.
So right now, worst case scenario,
let him go.
end of the year, you let him go, you owe him nothing.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, you actually get some value for him, and you trade him.
Yeah, you might get a second round pick. I don't think he's worth a first round at the moment.
I would say a third or a fourth even.
Right.
Yes, it's tough for an organization to admit that their number one pick of the draft has failed, and I think that's the reason why they tried
But it was crazy because Fitzpatrick was going over 400 yards for the first 3 games. And look at, he beat the Eagles. Right? And did they win against the Saints? Yeah, they won against the Saints.
Yeah.
These are not like small teams. He beat big teams. And then he almost came back to beat the Steelers.
He almost
came back to beat the Steelers. And he had that one bad game against the Bears.
And now against Tampa, he
brought them back.
Yeah. Tampa against, who was it?
The Bengals?
The Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
It was a big lead, and the minute he came on, and you notice not even an improvement in the offensive side of the game.
Everybody was
even the defensive. They were playing hard.
Level up.
There's some leadership there. Winston, on the other hand, when he came on, he completed 18 out of 35 passes. He threw 1 touchdown, 4 picks. Yeah. He is tied second for the most giveaways in the NFL, and he missed the first 3 games.
Santa Claus, man.
This is just terrible play.
But here's the thing, right? Because if you watch the game, and he wasn't bad. Winston wasn't bad. But all those interceptions he threw because he was getting cocky. He wants to be a gunslinger, right? He makes some good passes, but then he also sees, he sees a guy in tight coverage, and he's, all right, I'll go for him, and he gets the interception.
There was a couple of interceptions against Cincinnati where it made no sense. Where,
it was just ridiculous.
You're just asking, who are you throwing to? Yeah. I mean, it's
no one.
So I don't know. I mean, this is...
I mean, if you saw Fitzpatrick when he made that 2-point conversion, that was just a laser throw into the end zone, and
immediate impact.
Right. And apart from that, he was just so happy about it.
Yeah.
Everybody came and hugged him, and so there is some support for him, and I think the Tampa Bay offense will like playing under Fitzmagic.
End of the year, do they get rid of Dirk Cutter?
If he brings back Winston, yes.
No, if he brings back Winston, then he deserves to get fired that week.
That day.
That day.
At the half. It's going to be like who went off in
Devontae Davis.
Devontae is going to be the coach of Devontae Davis. Devontae, what? Halftime, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I'm done.
But I think that the Winston experiment is over. Where does he go next? If you're Jacksonville.
Well, I was thinking Tyrod for Jacksonville. But I don't know how that'll work out. But
Tyrod to Jacksonville would be a big improvement over Blake Bortles.
Oh, absolutely. Although he didn't play so badly against Philly on Sunday. He wasn't that bad. And I think I told you mid-game that it looks like the Bortles of the playoffs last season, which he had a couple of games, I know. But he looked all right in those couple of games.
That won't catch on anytime soon. Bortles of the playoffs.
The playoff Bortles. Remember that. You heard it here first. But what makes more sense, Tyrod or Winston?
I would take Tyrod. Tyrod is a 2-time Pro Bowler.
I would take Tyrod.
Yeah.
Winston, he seems like a liability out there,
Some people are saying that he could still be a starter in the NFL. I think at best he's a backup. I think he's one of those failed experiments. He went number 1. People liked his charisma. People liked his leadership. But from the minute he ate that W, that little weird thing that he did.
Finger licking W, that did it.
If you're in that huddle and you're
I remember last year you were going on about how Cam was also, doing also stuff, being a bit cocky. Let's admit it.
But Cam can back it up. He's got the physical ability. He can run with the ball. Yeah. My problem with Cam is that he's never been, a great passer. His accuracy. Right. This year, he's having a career best. He's 66% completion so far.
And he's having more rushing yards than McCaffrey in the last game.
The last game, he started 8 out of 10. He was throwing for 80%. It was, something. He's been kind of floating under the radar. And
for teams that this is a double threat, having him and McCaffrey, he's basically a running back at sometimes. He does the dime. And
he's the best guy to run a quarterback sneak in the NFL right now. Yeah.
So, you plan for McCaffrey on the run, And you got to watch the other side as well because Cam's coming from the other side.
And we made the Ravens look average at
You know,
best.
before the game, I told you, man, there is no... I mean, not before the game. During the games, I cannot believe the Ravens let 33 in. The Ravens, number one defense in the NFL.
Right.
And they just blew them wide open.
Even Vegas, everybody had the odds on the Ravens. People don't realize Carolina at home can be really, really good. You know, it's a different...
Pound it, is it?
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Right, keep pounding.
Anyways, all right, so let's talk about some more trade possibilities. Nothing has come from Ian Rappaport.
Nothing yet.
Or
No,
Adam
he's slacking.
Yeah, they're
He's
waiting for
slacking.
us to stop recording, and then they'll come rushing in and make our episode outdated.
Well, the thing is, this episode will become obsolete by the time it comes out.
Yeah, I know.
That's all it is.
It's fine. We thought we'll do some kind of live trade deadline stuff. It's not working out,
We can
guys.
act like it's live, you know?
Let's talk about Patrick Peterson. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals are becoming they're in complete rebuild mode, I think, right now. And where do you think he goes?
First
next?
of all, I mean, that is a trade that the Eagles could have done because we need some serious help in the cornerback area.
Panthers need someone in the secondary as well.
Man, I would argue Philly needs
You guys need
cornerback
more?
help.
All right, you have
much more. No, seriously. But for the Cardinals, the fact that he stayed, because I mean, there was things.
He said he wanted to get traded. Then
but did he really say it publicly?
I don't know. How did it happen? Because I just
have
saw
no
the
idea.
headline. Some people were saying his cousin or somebody leaked it, or I don't know. Somebody in the locker room.
Him and his cousin lying down on a couch watching some movie, and he's like,
"Hey, bro,
dude, bro, I think I need out of Arizona." Are you serious, man? And, you know, he gets no, come on, that did not happen. So, because I didn't see any public comment from him saying that I want to leave Arizona.
The public statement saying that he wants to stay in Arizona for as long as they'll have him.
Right.
And that's
it. What makes it good for Cardinal fans is that he said, look, I had a discussion with the owners.
Yeah.
And they assured me certain things. I don't know what they assured him.
Yeah.
And then I stayed. So as a fan, I'm thinking, oh, okay, there is something cooking. Maybe it's not the greatest season this season, but there are some plans afoot. And if Patrick Peterson wants to keep staying at Cardinals, even though it's a losing season,
right,
maybe there is some hope for Arizona.
But then just look at this. Look at what it would cost to get Peterson. It would cost $6.5 million against the cap for the rest of this season. It would cost $11.8 million in 2019, 13.1 million in 2020.
Right.
So for a player of his caliber, that's a steal.
It's not a big deal. And Philly would have gone for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, Javi Osman has made enough adjustment that, you know, when the start of the season, we were desperate as far as cap space was concerned. You know, right now we're at average at the moment. You know, that's because he's worked around, he's adjusted. He adjusted the Fletcher Cox contract.
Yeah.
So, you know, and how he's really good at this, you know, trading season. Yeah. This is about the time we got Jay Ajayi from the Dolphins.
It's this time of the year, and it was a shock kind of.
It was kind of shock, and then look at what happened the rest of the season. Even without Carson Wentz, made it to the Super Bowl.
So, but now you guys on the...
I mean, remember, we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you don't have to keep mentioning that. God.
Just in case you forget.
God.
Just want to a reminder.
You've got Golden Tate now on the offensive side, though.
Which is a huge deal.
This is amazing.
Yeah. And so now what you have is Alshon Jeffrey, who's getting targeted a lot by Carson Wentz. Yeah. You've got Ertz on the short passes. Oh. You know, the third down situations, you go to Ertz.
Ertz, Jeffrey.
And the thing is, Carson Wentz is looking really good.
Yeah.
He's looking really good.
What do you do with Nick Foles in this situation right now? Do you think about getting some value for him and trading him before the deadline, or do you keep him?
There is pros and cons to it, right? Yeah. If you do get rid of him, that's about $11 million saving on the cap space. Yeah. Right? But we've got Nate Sudfeld, right, as QB3. He's not the guy who's going to take you into the playoffs. Right. And then before the season even started, Nick Foles was given all this compensatory stuff. I mean, it's a whole list of things. I couldn't even go over what it is. You know? And he's happy with that deal. And he's never said anything while
he likes being a backup.
He likes being the backup quarterback because there is value to him. I mean, what would you, if you were to trade, what would you give up?
I wouldn't trade him because Carson Wentz, like I said in the last episode, and we saw this in the last game as well. He always has to extend the play a little bit more. Right. He's always in the fire.
And he's increased his mobility, by the way.
He could get hurt anytime. He's making some of these dangerous runs, where he's
But what is in it for Foles to keep staying at the Eagles? I mean, is he going to stick around to say, when Wentz gets hurt, I'm there?
No, it depends on what you see yourself as. If you see yourself as a starting quarterback...
He's the best second quarterback in the league.
Best backup,
He's the best backup quarterback in the league.
But if he sees himself better in that backup role and he's happy with the money that he's getting, if his ego can take it, then why
apparently
not?
It can, because now you're getting into November.
Yeah.
Right?
And we haven't heard the blip from him.
Half the season done, and then neither has the Eagles or Pedersen or Howie Roseman ever said, look, we'll hear some calls for Foles. I think he stays. He stays. Yeah.
Staying in your division. Right. New York Giants.
Are we done with the trades? What are the other trades we're looking at?
We've got Patrick Peterson. I'm just trying to look here.
I think that's not going to happen. But one of the other ones that the Eagles were looking at was Clinton-Dix.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you not want to have a guy called Ha in your locker room?
I don't know. Were his parents mad at him when he was born? Was his mother in labor for too long?
Depends where he was born and whether marijuana was legal at the time. How much did his dad have?
Best name in the NFL, hands down.
Honey, name the child, honey. And Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah.
That's another cornerback that we could be looking at. The Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell, where does he go?
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely that in the next, hour and a half that we hear anything about Le'Veon Bell.
This is the NFL.
Because, for that deal to happen, Le'Veon Bell will have to come back, sign the franchise tag, tender, and then he would have to sign with the new team or get traded, and that paperwork has to get through before the deadline as well. We would have heard something by now.
You think so? Are you still on? Has Schefter come through?
Nothing. Rappaport, Schefter. Oh, hold on. Two from Schefter.
Oh, there you go. We got something coming from Bleacher as well.
Let's see.
What do we got? Hold on, folks.
Another more minor wide receiver move for the Lions. Detroit restructured the contract of wide receiver Marvin Jones, saving $2.2 million against the salary cap.
Nice. So they're working out something there.
And then there's another one. The Broncos are looking forward to recognizing Demaryius at Sunday's game against the Texans. Nice. With a thank you banner.
There you go. I like Denver. Denver fans are nice.
He doesn't have to leave Denver. I mean,
sleep in his own bed for the game.
Sleep in his own bed, and so okay.
Another one that looks, and I'm just looking at what the Eagles could be looking for. Jerry Hughes, if he's available,
right,
at defensive end from the Bills.
From the Bills, yeah. That's a sinking ship as well. You can get a good player there.
Yeah, because we lost Derek Barnett in that position, and then this could be full. The problem the Eagles are having is on the offensive line, and they've had to shift players around now.
Right.
Jason Peters isn't moving as he used to.
Yeah.
Lane Johnson's out. He got carted off on Sunday. A couple of weeks gone there.
Right.
So I think you'll see, first of all, a lot of more movement from Carson Wentz. And, this is where maybe another wide receiver coming in, he has an option, get the ball out fast, because he's got Jeffrey on one side,
Absolutely.
He got Tate on the other. We'll see what happens. We're on a bye week coming up, I think.
So we're at the 45-minute mark now. So I just want to quickly talk about the Giants, because they've traded away the wrong Eli. They traded away Eli Apple to the Saints.
Clerical error.
And they traded away one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL, in Damon Snacks Harrison. Snacks Harrison, best nickname in the league as well. Is this a sign that a complete rebuild is around the corner for the Giants?
Yeah, but then what are you going to rebuild around Eli?
No.
There has to be...
Eli has to be gone by the end of the year.
That's what I'm saying. So it's got to be, okay, does he know about it? Because I think he has a no-trade clause on his contract, so no one's going to trade him anyways. It's a different story. But, I mean, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do. Yeah. But you don't want to get rid of people like Snacks, obviously. But Eli, I mean, I don't know what the Saints were thinking, though. Is he the right fit at corner over there?
I don't know.
You got, Marshawn Lattimore there. And their defense is doing pretty good.
When you get Eli Apple, you don't just get him. You get him and his mom, who's very loud and very involved in everything, right? So
yeah. Listen, you know what? Keeping up with the Saints, just to give you an indication on what's happening with their defense. Who did they get in the pick last season? What was his name? And he came up big on Sunday. I forgot what his name was. I think it's somewhere here. But anyway, there was the Viking game. The Viking game. Anyway, I think it was 329 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the other guy had 125 yards and 1 touchdown. Who's behind door number 1? Who's behind door number 2?
What? Saints
and Vikings games.
Yeah.
329 yards and 2 touchdowns. 125 yards, 1 touchdown. Who did what? Which quarterback did what?
You would assume Drew Brees, right?
Drew Brees did what?
The 329?
No, Drew Brees did the 125.
Oh, no way.
Because that's scary for the NFC, because now you're telling me that Drew Brees and his quarterback rating was 47.
Wow.
And with that kind of figures, you still win a game by 10 points, scoring 30. So that's how scary it is for the NFC, because now your defense has stepped up.
The defenses are actually doing something right now.
Yeah, doing something right now. And we don't need Drew Brees to be throwing 300 to 400 yards.
I think for the NFC South in general, it's going to come down to
Panthers and the
Saints. Yeah. And they play each other twice to close the season. Week 15, week 17.
1 week difference, yeah.
1 week difference in between. I think that's where it's going to decide who wins the division, who goes maybe in a wild card, actually. It could be a wild card.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess the South's pretty much like the East. Yeah. South's a bit better, obviously, but the messy situation on who wins the division is pretty much the same. Only the one winning the East division goes through.
Yeah.
I think. I don't think you're going to get 2 from the East.
That's very unlikely. Yeah. So going back to preseason predictions, I thought the Eagles won't win their division and will get a wild card, but it doesn't look likely now with the way that division is going. Yeah. One team that you should look out for is the Seattle Seahawks, because they're above 500 for the first time.
They're slowly coming up behind the radar. Underneath the radar.
They're 4th in the NFL in defensive efficiency, and they're just kind of just gliding and they're just getting there quietly.
Yeah. But they got the Rams.
Andrew Luck has not been sacked in 15 straight quarters.
Right, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So the Colts is another team on the other side where they're 3-5 right now, but they're very much playing for the AFC South. So a lot of interesting things are happening.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, right now it's about the AFC East and the AFC West is pretty much a surety. Patriots gonna get
Patriots. Pittsburgh are hitting their stride right now as well. I feel.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. They might make the playoffs. I'll give you that. They will probably make the playoffs.
They might. Come on.
We'll see what happens. They still got 8 weeks to go, but I don't think they do a lot in the playoffs.
But look at their division. I mean, Baltimore are Ravens, up and down. I mean, Cincinnati.
We had a lot of hope on the Ravens, and they gave it up in the Panthers game.
Cleveland is, we spoke about them for like half of the podcast.
Let's talk about Cleveland in 2020. Not even 20.
2025, maybe.
2020. Well, it depends on what kind of coach they get up there.
Kansas is definitely winning there.
Kansas. I mean, listen, I'll tell you. Kansas. And this play of theirs on Sunday kind of epitomizes the season and what they're like. And I think you'd gone to the boys' room during this play.
Yeah.
Right?
I missed it.
And then you missed it, and you came back and you saw the replay. Yeah. And it was I think they were 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Right, and it was the third quarter, maybe, I don't know. And that's Kareem Hunt. And imagine what would have happened in that huddle, right?
Right.
And Mahomes was saying, hey, Kareem, I'm gonna, hey, yes, Holmes, Kareem, I'm gonna fake option to the right. I'm gonna shovel pass it to you.
And I want you to run all the way to the touchdown.
No, just give me that 1 yard. Get in the red zone. I'll work the rest. And then Kareem's not like, hey, boy, just give me the ball.
I'm going right all the way.
Breaks through the line, hurdles over the safety, and he's in the touchdown.
Wow.
But this is KC this season.
I'm telling you, the 26 touchdowns that Patrick Mahomes has thrown in his first 8 games are as many as his predecessor, Alex Smith, threw the whole of last season. It's incredible. Something special is happening there.
That's right. It is. Right?
Yeah.
And he's going for 350 yards per game, something like that?
Yeah.
It's crazy. In 26, what is Peyton Manning's 55 touchdowns?
Oh, that's going to get smashed. But like we talked about it last time, the rules have a lot to do with that as well.
They do have a game against the Rams, which is going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure which. We're thinking in a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
That'll be the interesting game.
That would be the game to watch.
Because does KC have enough on defense to take care of Todd Gurley and Jared Goff?
Yeah.
Right?
And all the other pieces.
Listen, the Packers did a great job the other weekend.
They should have won that game. I mean, this is they only needed Aaron Rodgers to get them to field goal range.
No, but apart from that, they kind of stifled Todd Gurley at the start. They moved around some pieces. They moved around their linebackers and stuff. They did some. They didn't show who was coming on to the.
No, I think, in my opinion, the Green Bay Packers just gave the rest of the NFL the blueprint to beat the Rams.
They did.
The way that they played.
They did.
Yeah.
And
they just couldn't close the deal. But the way that they schemed there was...
That is why Aaron Rodgers was even more pissed off about the Ty Montgomery incident. Because you had that game.
And those are the kind of games they need to win. They don't need to
and you can rely on him to go down the field, even if it's
easy.
a minute and a 50.
Easy.
I mean,
Easy. Anyways, all right, we're getting up to the 50-minute mark. Let me just do a quick double check on Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter. They gave us nothing. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll wrap it up. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page, and also listen to us on the podcast app, iTunes, and Stitcher. So thanks.
So when this goes on air, Tom Brady is traded for 4th-round picks, is it?
Yeah, let's see. We haven't even spoken about what Bill Belichick might do in the next hour or so for his team.
He's going to go for linebackers. He loves going for linebackers.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Anyways, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks.